Let's dive into the fascinating world of spending psychology. It turns out our financial decisions are rarely as rational as we think. Instead, they're profoundly shaped by a complex mix of psychological, emotional, and social factors. This is what we call spending psychology, and understanding these hidden forces is key to managing our money better.
Absolutely, Mia. It's a field that really bridges economics and psychology. It shows us that our gut feelings, what our friends are doing, and these little mental shortcuts we take often completely override the most perfectly planned budget. We think we're logical, but our brains are wired for something else entirely.
So, it's clear that our emotions are deeply intertwined with our spending habits. But how exactly do these emotions manifest? And how do marketers leverage them to influence our purchases?
Well, it turns out that our emotions play a central role in how we spend money. When we're stressed, anxious, or even happy, our rational decision making can be compromised, leading to purchases we might regret. This is often called retail therapy, a way to get a temporary mood boost.
I see. That makes sense. It's that quick hit of pleasure.
Exactly. And that pleasure is literally a chemical reaction, a little hit of dopamine. But what's fascinating is how marketers are masters at tapping into these very emotions. They use advertising that evokes nostalgia or aspirations, making us feel a connection that drives us to buy based on feelings rather than just needs. The problem is, it's a fleeting fix. The temporary relief is often followed by financial strain, which just adds more stress, creating a vicious cycle.
That's a powerful insight into how emotions and marketing work together. But beyond emotions, what about those spur of the moment buys? How do retail environments and our own mental shortcuts contribute to impulse purchases?
Let's talk about impulse buying. It's a huge part of spending psychology, and it's often fueled by a variety of triggers. Retail environments are actually designed to encourage these spontaneous purchases, from store layouts to strategic placement of items near checkout counters.
Right? The candy bars and magazines right where you're waiting?
And it's not just the physical store. Cognitive biases, like the fear of missing out on a deal or social proof, seeing what others are buying, play a massive role. Plus, the way prices are presented is a huge one. Think of the decoy effect. A coffee shop offers a small for $3 and a large for $7. Then they add a medium for $6.50. Suddenly, that $7 large looks like a fantastic deal, even though you probably just wanted the small.
So it's a calculated strategy, isn't it? Marketers aren't just selling products. They're expertly manipulating our psychological triggers, scarcity, social proof, framing effects, to bypass our rational minds and encourage immediate action. It highlights how much of our purchasing behavior is less about conscious need and more about subconscious response to environmental and cognitive cues.
It's clear that our psychology is being actively leveraged. So, given all these influences, what practical steps can individuals take to gain more control over their spending and foster more mindful financial habits?
The good news is that recognizing these psychological influences is the first step to regaining control. There are several practical strategies we can employ to foster more mindful financial behavior.
Absolutely. Simple things can make a huge difference, like keeping a spending journal to spot your emotional triggers or implementing a 24-hour waiting period for any non essential purchase. It allows the emotional high to wear off so you can think clearly. Using cash also helps. Physically handing over money makes the cost feel more real than just tapping a card. It's all about creating friction to slow yourself down.
Those are incredibly actionable tips, David. It's clear that individual spending psychology has ripple effects. So, what's the bigger picture? How does our collective consumer behavior impact the broader economy?
It's important to recognize that our individual spending psychology has a much larger impact on the economy. Consumer spending accounts for a huge portion of many national economies, so shifts in our collective behavior can lead to significant economic fluctuations.
So, you're saying my personal anxiety about buying a new laptop when multiplied by millions can actually move the needle on the whole economy?
That's precisely it. During an economic downturn, for example, our collective risk aversion and anxiety skyrocket. People save more, spend less, and become fiscally conservative. That caution slows down production and job creation. Conversely, when people feel confident, their spending drives demand and fuels economic growth. It's a constant feedback loop between our personal psychology and the health of the market.
That really puts things in perspective. So, David, to wrap this up, what are the key takeaways our listeners should remember about the psychology of spending?
I think there are a few big ones. First, accept that your financial decisions are driven by psychology and emotion just as much as logic. Second, recognize that retail therapy is a temporary fix that can lead to more stress and that marketers are experts at triggering these emotions. Third, you can fight back with mindful strategies, create a budget, use a waiting period, and understand the cognitive biases being used on you. And finally, remember that your personal spending habits, when combined with everyone else's, genuinely shape the entire economy we all live in.